It's Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America. Hello, Larry. How are you, sir?
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's my pleasure. It's just it's nonstop. It's nonstop in the media. It's not only Wolf Blitzer. It's not only CNN. As you well know, it's the entire media that's ganged up and keeps talking about these polls where 95% of the public favors background checks and universal background checks. But as you correctly tried to point out to Wolf, and have pointed out in the past, a lot depends on how the question is asked, what the question is, and how it's presented among other choices.
And we had a way of testing one of their statements from their surveys. At least one of those survey companies that had announced this 90% type figure was finding 80% of gun owners, and specifically mentioned National Rifle Association members. Well, we polled our members, and it turned out so did the NRA. We said, hey, tell us, do you support this expansion of the instant background check, or do you not? Well, 4% of our guys said they did, and 5% of the NRA guys said they did. So it seems to me, and it was a huge response that both of us got. So it seems to me that the polls, if you can't believe them in something that's supposed to be 75–80% range, then it's not likely to be accurate on anything else either. If you can't get that right, I don't think we have to take them seriously.
Yeah, and it just is nonstop, both the bombardment of that figure. All right, let's move on. Also, yesterday we had the press conference announcing an agreement between Senator Pat Toomey, Republican from Pennsylvania, and of course Joe Manchin, Democrat, West Virginia, both of whom have high ratings from the NRA. And you talked about the fact that you were going to be seeking and hoping to find a candidate to run in a primary against Pat Toomey.
Yes, we have a few years, 4 years exactly, to 3.5 years to do this, and we're going to take it very seriously. We're going to try to hold him accountable. This was not why I had gone to Pennsylvania to campaign for Pat Toomey against Senator Arlen Specter in that Republican primary. We joked, and in fact, I joked with Toomey at the time. Well, here I am opposing Arlen Specter. He votes with us all the time when we don't need him.
Right.
And, well, it turns out Pat Toomey may have the same spirit. This is a very bad thing that he's doing to advance the gun control agenda of the Democrats in the Senate. He got rolled. I don't know that he understands perhaps just how much Harry Reid deceived him, because a lot of these Republicans that voted wrong, Lindsey Graham was talking a lot about it. Well, I just want to have an open debate and some votes on this, so that's why I'm not going to vote for the filibuster. I'm going to vote against the bill. Well, golly fella, if you do it that way, they've got 51 votes to get this thing over the line. Where we had a chance to stop them was with the filibuster,
right.
And the filibuster was on the motion to proceed.
Right.
And they all went and turned tail on us, and then they're going to try to tell us that they're pro-Second Amendment. That's going to be a hard sell.
All right, let me ask you, what is your main objection, Larry, to the agreement reached by Manchin and Toomey?
Well, it makes it more likely that they actually end up enacting the instant background check for everybody. And our objection is the same that it was on day one when they first imposed the instant background check, and that is, you expect us to have confidence in the government that at the time had just given us Waco, now has given us Fast and Furious with 400 at least, by their own admission, dead Mexicans and a couple of dead federal agents, giving guns to the Mexican cartel, and they turn around and say, but we can't trust you without our inspecting your background when you buy a gun. Please. This is going to be, not only is it morally insupportable that they would have this kind of phony authority over us in an area protected by a fundamental right, but it doesn't work. It doesn't keep guns out of the bad guys' hands. Oh, can't buy it at the store? Well, I'll go out on the streets and I'll get one from Cousin Vito or something of that sort. This is all about building a registry of gun owners, and they have said so. When a dealer now sets himself up to do a background check through their internet portal, they're told in writing that this is the names that are submitted are going to be the property of the United States government, period. That's in violation of 2 federal laws. So we're not terribly surprised.
Right.
They're willing to kill Mexicans, that they're going to violate this law too, and they will have a registry of virtually all gun owners in the country.
We're talking to Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America, and of course I love when reporters talk to you and others and try to say, well, you need this and that for a car. Why shouldn't you have it for a gun? But let me go beyond that. And very briefly, Michelle Obama spoke in Chicago yesterday, invoking that poor girl who was killed on the streets of Chicago. But that had nothing to do with the debate that's going on right now. And I see the slippery slope. I see if they could get an assault weapons ban, which they won't. If they could get that, then they come back and they go back to Chicago and have Michelle Obama again get emotional and say, well, we honored the victims of Newtown, but now we have to do something to honor this poor little girl's memory and all the other kids in Chicago who are killed with handguns, because what they did here had nothing to do with handguns. So is that your fear also, that if they got, an inch, they would keep going down the slope?
Oh, sure. And Chicago's proof of it, because Chicago probably has surpassed even Washington, D.C. now in the most draconian gun laws in the country. Over 500 murders a year in one city, more than any state in the country by some good measure. And all of that gun control that they're talking about today is way more to be found in Chicago.
Right.
All it's gotten for them is murder capital of our country.
Larry, I have to stop you there. A good way to end, though, and we'll continue this conversation, I'm sure. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you'll come back, sir.
Let me invite folks to get more information at gunowners.org and get on our alert list there.
Okay, gunowners.org. Larry Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America. Thank you, sir. We're coming back. Don't go away.